In today's video, I will give you my experience of 1000 hours in Rocket League, how I've learned from it, and what you could take in the future when trying to grind out for 3v3s and rank up, I guess. But before we get into the main content of the video, I do want to say that my Discord, once again, is open and is active. Link in the comments down below and in the description. Feel free to join, loads of things coming in there as well. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Your weaknesses are only amplified, especially the more you play Rocket League, and it may sound a bit weird because you'd think you're getting better at the game, and while that is true, believe me, after I think 1000 hours, so personally my other account, for example, if you want some context, I peaked at Champ 3, but at that point, I think 2 years ago or a year ago, it became a huge weight on me, trying to improve my mechanics, trying to improve in the game, trying to grind out. And it was clear that I had a lot of weaknesses in my game, and if I was to hit GC, and if I was to actually improve in this game, I need to be spending loads of time in training and loads of time teaching myself the game again and again. And the thing is about weaknesses, that they only become a bigger burden as you play. And although that may sound again kind of weird, because you'd think, pro players are, they're elite. How do they struggle more and more with their weaknesses? Well, the thing is, because it's a fact. They have to spend loads of time in training now. Any mistake and any bad habit you have will impact you dramatically the higher up you get in Rocket League. And there's so many ways to overcome this, but mentally you need to be prepared for that. You're going to hit a ceiling in this game that you probably didn't think you'd hit. And while there was a period that you're ranking up consistently in, there's going to come a time where you're going to hit that ceiling and your weaknesses will be the thing that's holding you back. And yeah, you know what, it's going to suck for a while. It really will be, because it really will be a huge, it will be a very difficult thing to overcome as you play this game, because even in the lower ranks you can see weaknesses, you can see people doing a lot of mistakes, making mistakes, but they won't get punished for it. But higher up, man, I have to say, it's ridiculous how easily you get punished for your mistakes. So I can't emphasize enough how much you work on improving on your weaknesses and making them more of your strengths. And you know what, this is done through so many different ways, but man, just train, be consistent, and keep playing the game on a daily basis if you still have it in you to do that. Because after 1000 hours, for me, it felt like I hit a ceiling and I could not get past that ceiling, which ultimately I guess kind of prevented me from hitting GC, which will always be a little bit in the back of my mind. And now I'm a mid-champ, I've dropped off a little bit, but this is my experience and I'm trying to share it with you and what you can learn from it. This is my, overview of what it felt like to deal with my weaknesses and deal with my bad play. Now, this is without really to be cliche or say that the game is getting too toxic. It's not ever getting too toxic. It's always at the same level it's been, and I've already talked about toxicity on this channel, so it's nothing new if you've been around here, and it's not really a thing I want to keep discussing, but I'm going to have to come back to it, because as I said, after 1000 hours, I have learned that the higher up you get, it's going to get worse. It doesn't get any better, and it won't really if you're relying on having, better competition, friendlier competition, which I doubt you are relying on. But you already know, the toxicity is going to get worse and worse no matter how much you play. And honestly, that's just down to the fact that there's so much at stake, and there's a lot of people who just solo queue or try to solo queue to GC, which again, that's a very pressuring thing to try, believe me, by yourself. And teammates will be an even bigger burden on you mentally, especially when you're so close to achieving a really high rank. And believe me, that's what it felt like in Champ 3, especially when I wasn't playing with my friends for certain periods. Solo queuing was devastating, it was horrible. And it's not because of toxicity, but it's just kind of it's a byproduct of solo queuing. There's so many people near Champ 2 who are unbelievably toxic on a daily basis. Now, if they're going to get banned, who knows, they might. But the truth is, to not really drag out this point too much, because it's very cliche. We already know that Rocket League has toxicity. I don't need to say this, you know this. But yeah, the higher up you get, the worse toxicity will be, the more toxic you will get. Maybe until you hit a certain, GC3, GC2. Maybe after that, where more pros are involved higher up, maybe it'll be less. But to me, Champ 3 was an absolute waste, a toxic waste pile of people. For some context, again, I have to say that after Champ 3, I felt like a king. I felt like I'd honestly just peaked in Rocket League, and I was playing really well. I mean, I have to say, not to flex or not to, I guess, show that I'm really good at the game, I was doing really well for a good amount of time until I wasn't. And at some point I hit this ceiling that I'm talking about constantly in this video, because essentially what I've hit personally in my experience is just a glass ceiling that I can see through. I can see Grand Champ, but I can't get to it. And that was down to my mindset and I guess the shortcomings of my mentality, because I felt like I just continued getting better and better through the same volume of training, through the same training routines and the same mindset. As much as you want to have a winning mindset and you want to think that you can do well, you can win anything, you have to also be realistic with your expectations, and you need to set goals that you can achieve within 2 weeks and 3 weeks, not goals that you want to achieve next month or 2 months after and say that in 2 months I will be a Grand Champ. Who knows, you might hit it before that or you might hit it after that. So don't set any ridiculous timescales like I did personally on myself to hit Grand Champ. Believe me, don't put that burden on yourself, and don't put that burden on trying to force yourself, I guess, to play the game. Never force yourself to play Rocket League. It's such a fast-paced game which you'll regret instantly to hop on if you're not feeling down to it. And that's honestly what I encourage people to do. I encourage people to only play the game when they feel like it. Otherwise, it's just a waste of an experience. It's a waste of your time. Just play when you're having fun. I mean, I got this comment, and honestly, I couldn't agree more with this comment, because the truth is, there's no point in trying to force this narrative that the game is getting harder and harder, and you're not enjoying it, and yet you still play the game. Just have fun on it, man. There's no point in trying to force the experience. That's what happened with me. I forced the grind so much, and eventually my mindset just crumbled on me. I couldn't handle the pressure of playing every single day, having training and enjoying training. I couldn't do that anymore. Training felt pretty bad after some point, and I have to say that if you're not enjoying your training, especially, not like training is the most fun thing in the world, but if you aren't enjoying your training to some extent, then boy, it's gonna get real bad for you in the future. I mean it. You're not gonna find any progress in your own ability, and you'll never rank up ever again. You'll just be hard stuck. So find enjoyment in the game, please. Don't grind out too much. Keep the fun in it. Find some good people to play with your friends, encourage 3v3s with your friends, play through that, play 2v2s and 1v1s, enjoy the game, man. That's honestly all I have to give as a tip. Seriously, just to put it into context and to give you an idea, the amount of training you're going to be doing, if you're actually going to be improving, and in my personal experience, how much training I had to go through, which also accumulated to my 1,000 hours in general, was outrageous. You're not going to believe how much time you're going to be spending just doing non-stop training, redirects, off the wall, air dribbles, flip resets. I mean, everything. Your mechanics will be constantly reworked, and the more you play this game, the more training you're going to have to do, and the training will get harder and harder. That's what I learned over 1,000 hours. I think the game is so tough to get better at, because obviously you can learn some basic things, you can learn some basic mechanics that can get you out of gold and plat and even diamond. But you know what, once you hit champ, I think it becomes clear to you that you're not going to progress anymore through YouTube tutorials or trying to play it smart or game sense over mechanics. It doesn't work like that, and it won't ever work like that in champ. And you can't change the rules either. I mean, that's just how the competitive system works. If you want to get better, you're gonna have to make sure you're spending more and more time in training to work. As I said, I mean, this links again to the first point, my weaknesses and my overall, I guess, attitude towards my weaknesses was impacted the more I played this game, which is why you're gonna have to spend loads of time in training. Otherwise, you'll be stuck forever at the same rank, especially the higher up you get, because it's all fun and games. You can progress by solo queuing very easily to champ, and then after champ it's all downhill from there, unless you pick up your work ethic, you get on the training, and you work non-stop. I hope you've learned something from this video, and I hope that I've been able to give you some information or give you some, I guess, something you'd wanted to take from this video, maybe some experience and some entertainment, I guess, to some extent, of my own experiences. But seriously, if this was enlightening in some way, feel free to stick around. I do make a lot of content like this, but also I am planning to actually play the game more and more consistently and make things with viewers through my Discord, through YouTube. I want to make loads of content coming up around June and after June as well. But as we're coming to the end of the video, have a good day, have a good night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video.